The words hit me before I even understood them. Her smirk, sharp and deliberate, carved through my chest like a knife. "You're a waste of my time," she said, her voice smooth, almost casual, as if she were describing the weather. I blinked. The room spun. My hands, resting on the edge of the kitchen counter, trembled slightly. I wanted to laugh or scream or collapse, maybe all three at once, but the only sound that came out was a low, bitter chuckle. "Perfect," I said finally, my voice quiet but deliberate. "I'm done giving it to you." Her smirk faltered just slightly, and I knew in that instant that she hadn't expected resistance. She was used to me bending, compromising, excusing, explaining. Always explaining. I stepped back, letting the weight of my words settle between us like an uninvited guest. I could see the faint twitch in her eye, the one that told me she was calculating, assessing, wondering if she could still manipulate this moment. But it was too late. I had already crossed a line I wasn't supposed to cross. The line between denial and reality. I remember the night it all began to unravel. It wasn't a fight exactly. There were no raised voices, no thrown objects. Betrayal, I discovered, doesn't always announce itself with drama. Sometimes it creeps in, wrapped in mundane gestures, late-night excuses, and the subtle warmth of someone else's presence. I had stayed late at the office, longer than usual, trying to finish a project that had consumed me for weeks. My phone buzzed around midnight, a text from her, short, clipped. "Out with some friends. Don't wait up." I frowned at the message, something prickling at the back of my mind. We'd been married for 9 years, and in 9 years, I had learned to read the subtext in her words. There was something different this time. I tried to push the thought away. Work was enough to occupy my mind. But sleep wouldn't come. The silence of our bedroom, the familiar smell of her perfume lingering on the pillow, only made my unease grow. The next morning I woke to an empty house. Not unusual in itself, she often left early, but the house smelled wrong. Not the normal lingering scent of her shampoo or morning coffee, but something darker, warmer, more intimate. My stomach twisted as I remembered the faint trace of cologne I didn't recognize, a scent that had no business being in our home. Started with small questions. Casual inquiries that she dismissed with a wave of her hand or a sarcastic smile. "Why were you out so late last night?" "Just with friends," she'd say, light, airy, untouchable. But I noticed patterns. The extra care in her appearance, the sudden secrecy with her phone, the way her laughter sometimes didn't reach her eyes. I tried to believe in us, in the years we had built together. Maybe it was paranoia, I thought. Maybe I was imagining things. But denial is a fragile shield, and reality is patient. The evidence, when it appeared, was subtle at first. A lipstick-stained coffee cup hidden at the back of the sink. A text message notification flashing briefly before she snatched the phone away. Late-night calls answered in hushed voices. My heart ached with every fragment of proof, but the full truth remained out of reach, teasing me, torturing me. Then came the day that changed everything. I had been running errands, returning home earlier than expected, and I noticed the car parked outside our house. Car I didn't recognize. My heart froze. I considered turning back, walking away, pretending I hadn't seen it. But some part of me, the part that had been screaming all along, couldn't. I entered the house quietly. The living room was empty, the lights dim. And then I heard it, laughter. Not her usual laugh. Not the one that had once made me fall in love with her. This laugh was low, familiar in a way that made my blood run cold. I followed it instinctively, my hands trembling, until I reached our bedroom. And there she was. The man I had suspected but never confirmed. His arm around her shoulder, her hand resting on his chest. Their eyes met mine briefly before she pulled away from him, a mixture of surprise and irritation on her face. "What are you doing home early?" she said, her voice calm, almost bored, as if nothing mattered more than maintaining her composure. I don't remember walking toward them, but I must have. I remember standing in the doorway, the sunlight hitting my face, and realizing I was seeing the person I loved betray me in the most intimate, unthinkable way. Days passed in a blur. I didn't speak to her, didn't ask questions, didn't even sleep properly. I watched her from a distance, noticing every subtle change, every hidden glance. She didn't try to hide it anymore. Maybe she thought I was too broken, too weak to react. And then the confrontation came. We were in the kitchen, the space where we had once shared breakfasts, whispered secrets, and plans for the future. I was slicing vegetables in silence when she walked in, confident, smiling, expecting normalcy. "You're acting strange," she said, leaning against the counter. I looked up, my eyes sharp, steady. "Do I need to explain why?" Her smile widened, a smirk creeping across her face. "Honestly, you're a waste of my time." I froze, tasting the bitterness of her words. The years, the memories, the promises, they all seemed to crumble at once. But beneath the shock, beneath the pain, something solid formed: clarity. "Perfect," I said slowly. "I'm done giving it to you." She blinked, caught off guard. "What are you talking about?" "I'm done giving you my trust, my love, my energy. Everything I've spent years investing in you, gone. You wanted to waste it. Fine. I won't be here for it anymore." Her smirk faltered. I could see it now, the tiniest flicker of uncertainty, the hint that maybe she hadn't counted on this. Maybe she hadn't expected me to take a stand. I left that morning. Not because I didn't still love her, not because I had suddenly become cold, but because love without respect, without trust, is a cage, not a home. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I walked out with the quiet determination of someone reclaiming their own life. In the weeks that followed, the grief came in waves. There were moments when I wanted to call her, to scream, to beg her to explain, to fix what could never be fixed. But I didn't. I reminded myself that clarity had a price, and I was willing to pay it. Friends and family noticed my withdrawal. They asked questions I couldn't answer or didn't want to. And in the silence of my apartment, I finally faced the truth. She had never been fully mine. She had never wanted to be. And that realization, painful as it was, freed me. Months later, I found peace in the ordinary. Morning coffee on the balcony, the quiet hum of the city, the small routines that made life feel steady again. Love, I realized, wasn't about possession. It was about trust, respect, and vulnerability. And I had finally learned to protect mine. I don't know where she is now. I don't know if she regrets anything, or if she even thinks about the man she left behind. And I don't care. What matters is that when I look in the mirror, I see someone whole again. Strong. Unbroken. Someone who knows the difference between love that lifts you and love that drains you. And sometimes late at night when the world is quiet, I think back to that moment, the smirk, the words, the finality of it all. And I smile. Not bitterly. Not with anger. But with the quiet satisfaction of a man who chose himself over betrayal, clarity over illusion, freedom over a cage. "You're a waste of my time," she said. "Perfect," I replied. "I'm done giving it to you." And for the first time in years I truly meant it.